everyone, Ryan Young, Kama Jiu-Jitsu. Somebody had asked me, one of our YouTube listeners or subscribers had asked me about doing a video on the proper method to clean our gis. I have a lot of gis, so I usually have in our season, we have our gi season, which runs from September 1st through May 31st of every year. That's about 9 months. I'm usually running about anywhere from 8 to 12 or 15 gis at a time, and I usually get new gis at that time. I'm kind of like that when it comes to gis, I guess, because I'm in them. I'm in sometimes 2 or 3 gis a day, and that's one thing as well. You don't want to be that stinky guy or gal, because I have come across stinky gals because they're not supposed to stink. Anyway, just humans, we stink, right? So what we do is, with regard to jiu-jitsu, it's a very sweaty thing. It's a contact thing. And one of the things that we don't want to do is we don't want to be that offensive one. That one when people train with, they're like, ugh, I got to train with him again? Oh man, he's always stink and he's gross, right? You know, some basic things, just common courtesy. Number one, before you train, make sure you don't smell. I mean, if you went to CrossFit and then you're coming out to Jiu-Jitsu, make sure you jump in the shower, right? Chances are because your training partner probably jumped in the shower before he came to class. I'm usually really clean before I put a gi on, and a lot of times, you know, I know of members who come to class late, and I'm like, why are you late? Oh man, I'm sorry, I got off of work late, and I had to go home and take a shower before I came in. Oh, okay. That's a good reason to be late. Another thing, don't wear cologne, don't wear perfume. If you do, make sure it's really, really, really light. The last thing that I want to do is to be rolling with, say, a woman who's got a lot of perfume or worse, makeup. You know, like foundation. She didn't wash her face before she came in, and you know, I'm wearing a white gi, and next thing you know, her makeup is just all over my gi. Same thing with somebody else. You know, make sure you wash all that stuff off. You know, it's great to look pretty, or with guys. You know, I don't know of any guys who wear makeup, but you know, with the cologne and all, you know, go light on it. If you can avoid it altogether. Oh, but I'm gonna stink. Well, no. If you're showered and you're clean, you won't stink. And if you stink, it'll be because you worked out, and by then, you know, it's okay. A couple of important things: make sure your mat is clean, because if your mat is dirty, all that dirt and bacteria is gonna get onto your uniforms, and it's gonna, I guess, hasten the wear out process of your gi. And a gi can be worn out in a couple of ways. One, it can be torn up, right? That doesn't happen to me very often because I don't keep them long enough to do that. But more likely, your gi will be worn out because it just smells. And the smell test really is not how it necessarily smells at the end of your training day. It's how it smells the moment your body starts heating up when you put that gi on. If the moment your body starts to heat up, let's say 3 to 5 minutes into your body warming up, and you start to smell your gi, get rid of that thing. Just dump it. Gis are not that expensive. You can buy cheapy gis. I'd rather my students buy cheapy gis for 50, 60 bucks and have a closet full of them rather than buying one $300 gi. And the reason is because who cares how expensive your gi is? Nobody does. They serve a purpose. You want them to serve a purpose. And that is just to be there for you to grab and kind of protect you a little bit while you're training, right? It's not important to have nice gis. It's a functional thing. Now, if you can afford to get $300-400 gis, then by all means do it, but don't make that your only gi. Make that one of your gis. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over how I wash my gis, and it's very simple. It's not fancy. All right, so here's a pile of gis that I used today. Notice that I really made a point to use dark colored gis today because I know I'd have to wash them. My lucky dark side, throw that in there, right? Got rash guard, one of our custom gis here. It's also one of our custom Kama ones. You know, as I kind of mentioned in my belt tying video, I tend to wear more hemp and bamboo gis. It just kind of happens that way. They're more comfortable. And what do I have here? A belt. Yes. wash your belt too. Make sure you don't overcrowd it. I mean, I've got a pretty high capacity washer, and I know I can do 3 gis in there, and that's pretty much it. If you do any more, then you don't really tend to get your gi really clean. Soap, it doesn't take any special soap. The reason why is most soaps are pretty much all the same chemicals. Laundry detergent is not rocket science. It's a pretty mature industry. You don't really have to go get the latest thing and all that. And then here, fabric softener. Yep, fabric softener. Turn it on, right? Oh, another thing, water temperature. I always wash in cold. I don't wash it hot for sure. I don't wash in warm, only because I don't want a chance, I don't want to chance stains getting set into the gi. Now, I typically will wash it on a heavy duty cycle. Whites will make it hot, so I don't want hot water. Cold wash, cold rinse, that's what I do. Heavy duty because it's a longer cycle. It doesn't damage the clothes at all because this doesn't have an agitator in it. It's just one of those, just rolls it up and drops it, rolls it up and drops it, and that's how it washes it. So one of those old high efficient ones. And that's it. Oh, and then the dryer, right? Do you use a dryer for your gi? Well, if you're asking me, I do. For me, it's all about convenience. I don't hang my gis up. I make sure I buy gis that fit me, and make sure they're a little bit big when I get them, because I just don't have the space to put 10 gis hanging up. And if you're going to do it that way, you need airflow. And if you don't have airflow, your gis aren't going to dry all that quickly. They're going to take a day or two to dry, which means that, I don't know, can mold grow in a gi in that type of situation? It's possible, but it's not possible for your gis to get all moldy in the dryer. So that's why I do it. Another thing, with regard to dryer, use only a medium heat. Don't use a high heat unless your gi is so big and you're trying to shrink it. I use a medium heat. I usually set it to auto, being that I don't care. I don't care if my gis shrink. It's not a big deal because I buy them a little bit big and they shrink out just fine. And once they're done shrinking, they're not going to shrink anymore. They might shrink a tiny bit over time. It might, but let's say a gi. I don't know how much a gi shrinks, but let's say a gi will shrink 1.5 inches on the sleeves after your first wash and dry cycle. After that, it maybe over the course of a year will shrink another 1/2 inch. So just make sure you take into account for that. Now let's say you bought your gis to fit you perfectly. You can't throw them in the dryer. You just can't. At least not on a hot cycle for sure. But if you need the convenience of getting it done, what you want to do is this. Put them in the dryer, and let's say it takes 30 minutes for your gi to dry. Put it in for 20. Okay? It'll get most of the moisture out, but not all of it, because a lot of the shrinkage happens when your gi goes from almost dry to completely dry. It's okay to dry it out for a little bit, but don't let it completely dry out. And that way you can make sure you don't shrink your gi too much. Another thing, when you get a gi for the first time and you don't know that brand sizing and you don't know the material shrinkage rate and all that kind of stuff, you haven't had enough of them to know. Here's what you do. You wash it in cold, throw it in the dryer under medium heat, let it go for about 20 minutes. Like I said, if it's 30 minutes, let it go for 20 minutes, put it on, see how it fits. If it's still a little big, throw it back in for another 5 minutes. It's going to dry a little bit more, take it out, put it on. You're going to have to do that just so you know what the shrinkage rate is, and you can kind of figure it out that way. So let it get to almost dry, put it back on. And if it fits now and it starts to shrink and you notice a shrink, stop drying it. Just take it out and hang it from there. And then going forward, you know how long it took to dry it before it shrank anymore. So you don't want to run it all the way through to completely dry, because then it'll shrink it and then it'll be too small, and then you're going to have to give your gi to your friend. But anyway, that's what I've got for washing and drying your gis, caring for your gis. If it starts to smell, toss it. Trust me. All this vinegar and all that doesn't work. It'll just make your gi smell like vinegar, which smells horrible too. I hate vinegar. I know some people swear by it, but I did it, and then when I put it on, I smelled vinegar on me, which is gross. Just regular soap and water, and if you want to put fabric softener in it, then do that. Because if you like those pajama gis, which I do, make fun of me, yeah, all right. And make sure your mats are clean, because mats will contribute to the additional dirt and smell and funk to your gi. If you walk into your academy, your mats are dirty, by all means, clean your mats. If your instructor or whoever's working there doesn't clean it, get in there 5 or 10 minutes early and clean it. Spray some Lysol on it. Lysol, it comes in it's a Lysol disinfectant. Do we have any here? Yeah, I just keep it's in a spray bottle. It kills all the germs and bacteria and all that. Or you can just use Clorox. We use Clorox in our Irvine Academy, and we clean our mats that way. But anyway, so that's all I got for you, and I hope this helps you. And if you have any questions on anything, comment on our videos. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. We got over 2,200 now. We started this effort really about 2 months ago. I mean, the channel's been around for a few years now, but we really haven't been working on it up until probably about July. And we've gone from maybe 150 to 2,200 subscribers, and I want to thank you all for that. Thank you for liking our videos. Thank you for commenting. The comments are great. We really appreciate them. That's all I've got for you. So I want to make sure you guys have a great week and have a happy training session. Take care. Bye-bye.